All right, I think we're live. Welcome, everybody. Where's my camera? There's my camera. Welcome to the Friday live stream. I'm Craig. Glad you're here. Today's going to be a little different because this is live streaming from the road. Okay, so I usually broadcast from my home near Salt Lake City. Today, I'm on the road. I'm in Seattle. It is my kid's 8th birthday, and we're going to a Mariners game tonight. It's their grand reopening. Very much looking forward to it. But Today I am going to be live streaming from the Airbnb that I'm staying in. Hello, Shoaib, Hassan, welcome. Glad to have you here. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about a few news stories and shooting the breeze a little bit about those, getting your opinions on what you think about a few of these news stories. But first, I should remind you, go to Reviews.org/giveaways. It's in the description. Go check on the link, enter for the giveaway. And, it's the same thing that it is every week. So if you're new this week, then you don't know about that yet. Go check out the link, bookmark the page, get signed up for the giveaways. They're very easy to enter. I highly encourage you to do that. So today, Sylvia, hello, welcome. Glad to see you here. Today, before we get started with the news stories, there's something that was kind of fun that happened today. So I'm in my Airbnb, and you ever walk into somebody's house and, maybe they say, excuse me for a moment, I'm going to go check on the hors d'oeuvres because you're a very high class person and you go to classy dinner parties, whatever. I'm going to go check on the hors d'oeuvres, says the host. And so what do you do while you're in the host's living room and they step out of the room for just a moment? You go check out their bookcase, right? Or their maybe their DVDs or whatever. I'm just thinking back over the years, like, what do? I love looking at people's bookcases because it gives you a little bit of an insight, maybe. Or, you can at least come up with a story about who this person is, how they think, the types of things they like to enjoy in their spare time. Well, I'd never thought of it before, but I walked into this Airbnb and turned on the TV behind me, and you can't really see it. Yeah, how do I do it? Yeah, it's a Samsung TV, but I had a little Roku remote next to it, and I thought, oh, okay, great. So that tells me something, at least a little something. What streaming device does this person decide to install for their Airbnb guests? You go with the lowest common denominator, right? The one that everybody knows. You go with the Roku. Install a Roku. And then it gets even better. So we turned on the Roku and you can kind of, oh gosh, I really need to, here we go. Let's do it this way. So there we go. So yeah, you turn on the Roku and you can kind of go through the menu. And this is, I figured this is kind of like looking through someone's bookcase. So now I can see which apps have been downloaded. But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily tell me too much about the host because this is, it's like a little mother-in-law apartment house thing that's separate from the host's house. And it seems like they just use it for Airbnbs, basically. And so it doesn't necessarily tell me everything about the host, but I get to have a little bit of fun looking through the stuff that is on their Roku and thinking, okay, so now I get to construct a narrative about who is using this Airbnb, and it's a lot of fun. So now, obviously this isn't my Roku. It's not my usual apps. So when I logged in, this was, you turn it on and it puts you on the row, not on the app necessarily, but it puts you on the same row that you were last on. So I turned it on and it looked like this. And so when I logged in, I was like, either this person, really missed their like Fox News feed at home. And so they had to download the app and turn on Fox News while they were at the Airbnb, or they're a music person and they're having a dance party. This place has like this, it has a big wide open floor space over here. So they were turned on Pandora and they were doing some dancing, or maybe most likely they've got the YouTube app right here and they just decided they wanted to watch some YouTube. Anyway, so yeah, I love that. And what's more, I can scroll down here and see not only what people are watching, but like what games they're downloading, because this is basically a communal Roku. So what is it that they come here they turn on the Roku and they're like, oh, you know what? I need to watch this thing on this app, or I need to play this game. And so as you scroll down, this thing's got 95 apps installed on it. Everything from VH1 and Verve to Hulu. Somebody's like, wait, you haven't downloaded Hulu and Disney Plus? And so these are like way down on the list. And it just keeps going on and on and on. So 95 different apps. Anyway, so yeah, this was my my bookcase game for the day when I got here to this Airbnb. So anyway, all right, let me get my phone because and yeah, I'm kneeling on the ground right now. That's the kind of Airbnb I'm in. I want to see if we've got a winner for last week's giveaway. I think we do. So the Apple AirTag 4-pack. Oh my gosh, that was a fantastic prize. Today, the winner was chosen when that closed. And the winner is Monica M. All right, so Monica, I hope you're tuned in today. Monica, you win the Apple AirTag 4-pack. Now, we'll be emailing you about that. You should hear from Angela, a member of the Reviews.org team, in just a moment. So we'll email you about that. Congratulations, Angela M. Angela's the member of the Reviews team. Monica M. for winning the Apple AirTag 4-pack. Fantastic. So for the rest of you, again, I mentioned this at the very beginning, but go to the description, check out the link, reviews.org/giveaways. Make sure you enter for the next one. In fact, let's go check out what the next one is. Okay. Ooh, all right. A Eufy Cam 2 Pro. So this is a device. It's a home camera. I think the Eufy Cam 2 Pro is an outdoor camera. You'll have to double check for me on the giveaways page. But Steve reviewed this on our channel a while ago. Here, I'm gonna tip this up a little bit. Oh, I gotta bend my knees a little bit better. So yeah, the Eufy Cam 2 Pro is the giveaway this week. That's a fantastic prize, and frankly, as far as cash value goes, that's a pretty good prize. So head on over there and check out the giveaways page. A new car, says Roy. You know, I missed out on my calling. I should have been either a game show host or a game show announcer. A new car. All right. I wish. You know, one day, maybe okay, that's what I'll do. I'll convince the Reviews.org team that when we hit 1 million followers, we're almost to 500,000. When we get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, then, maybe we can do a car giveaway. That would be cool, right? I wonder what we could give away. Couldn't be like an Aston Martin, but hopefully it wouldn't be like a Toyota Corolla or something. Oh, I wonder what. Ooh, okay. All right. When we get to 1 million followers, somebody remind me I said this, and I'll see if I can make it happen. Hey. Yes, Mariners, really, okay? I grew up here in Seattle, and I've often said that to be a fan is to be acquainted with disappointment. And I am intimately acquainted with disappointment, okay? So I am a real fan. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. I was born in the 80s, kind of did my growing up in the 90s when the Mariners were pretty good. And so even though they suck now, although not so much this year, but even though they suck now, I still love them. I will love them forever, okay? So I'm a fan. Okay, so let's get into a few things, and then we'll talk about the news items for today. Okay, where's my car credit? I love it. Fubo dropped A&E, maybe getting Turner channels back. Yeah, maybe. I don't know about the Turner channels. I haven't heard any rumors about that. But yeah, for those who don't know, as Space Ghost is letting us know, fantastic name, by the way, Fubo dropped A&E, and they lost, I think it was 4 different A&E channels. So A&E owns more channels than just the A&E network, and Fubo lost those. And so, how much of a blow is that? Totally depends on what you watch, what you like to watch. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not good. This isn't good news, right? But I wonder, so the contract lapsed. I'm sure the A&E networks wanted more money. And in order to do that, Fubo said, well, we'd have to raise our price. And they're already one of the more expensive streaming TV providers out there. So they're probably thinking, we can't raise our base price. It's already $65 a month. And so, yeah, at least I assume. I'm not privy to these conversations, but it's usually something like that. A dispute over who's getting paid and how much. So yeah, it is interesting news. We'll see what happens with it. We'll see if it lasts, right? Sometimes these things happen, it gets dropped, and then they pick them up again 3 months later when they figure out a new contract. It's possible. As for Turner Networks, could be. Yeah, maybe. I guess we'll see. Yeah, Turner's not tied down to any particular streaming service, and so they can kind of shop themselves around a little bit in a way that, like, ESPN would have a hard time doing, since it's owned by Disney, right? And they're tied to Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus and all that. So yeah, it could be. Roy Jones wants a Tesla. Well, we'll see about that, Roy. Okay. Did you hear the Weather Channel is making their own streaming service? Is it on here? That's what okay, let's see. Did anybody download the Weather Channel? I want to say they already have something. Sorry about the sound, by the way. I just have to use my laptop. Like I said, I'm on the go. I'm on the road. I don't have my normal setup. So if it's a little, less high quality, like it was super high quality before, but all right, let's go. Let's check out. Okay, so yeah, the last person, you guys, I don't know if you can really read it because the camera probably wants to focus on me. The last person here searched Funimation. So the last person to use this Roku in this Airbnb was clearly an anime fan and wanted to watch some anime on Funimation. All right, let's look for the Weather Channel. So, okay, so they do have and I knew they did. They've got their own app, but what Shoaib is saying is, did you hear Weather Channel is making their own streaming service, which would be probably something a little bit different, right? So I assume that the Weather Channel app, and I haven't used it in a long time. It's probably been 2 or 3 years since I logged into the Weather Channel app, but as I recall, it's basically just the channel, the cable channel that you get. So the question would be, if they did their own streaming service, would this be, I mean, obviously they'd have a lot of the same programming that they have on the actual Weather Channel, but then could they make, is it going to be the Weather Channel Plus, and they're going to do some kind of like original programming? That would be amazing if they did. If the Weather Channel, there we go. If the Weather Channel did original programming or licensed, The Day After Tomorrow or something like disaster movies, weather disaster movies, get Twister, right? You got to get Twister on the Weather Channel Plus streaming service. So yeah, that would be amazing. I haven't heard about this. There are a million new streaming services coming up, it seems like, every month. And so I don't hear about every single one of them. But this could be fun. Okay, so this one I have heard. Okay, I'm sorry. First of all, Zachariah says, have you seen Dorktown on the Mariners? Yes, it's amazing. It's one of the best internet documentaries I've ever seen, if not the best. And everybody should go check this out, even if you're not a Mariners fan, because these guys who made this documentary, they basically said, we don't care about the Mariners, but they're the most interesting sports team ever. And so they tell the story of the Mariners, and it's really fun. Very well done. Okay. Oh, all right. I heard the Weather Channel Plus blows. Actually, that is pretty good. Okay, so John Winkazi says, YouTube TV dropped Newsy to its channel lineup. So Newsy, it's not that YouTube TV dropped it. Well, I mean, they did, but they dropped it because Newsy is going to, if they haven't already, they're stopping their live feed. So Newsy will still exist, but they've been operating a live feed that they can send to these streamers, the YouTube TVs, Hulu Lives, whatever. And basically, they were trying to run a 24-hour cable news network style thing, but in the style of Newsy. So Newsy has always been about their thing was kind of bite-sized news stories. They wanted to present it with no spin, or as little as possible, right? So just the facts, ma'am. And so they were trying to be almost like the anti-cable news network. And I like Newsy. I continue to like Newsy. I've liked what they do. No service is perfect, but yeah, I've been a fan. So they found, like a lot of other companies have found, that having 24 hours a day worth of content, very, very difficult. And, maintaining that channel, keeping the content coming, keeping it interesting, keeping people tuned in, not an easy feat. And so, yeah, so they're pulling back. As far as I know, like I said, they're still going to exist, but Newsy will go back to being kind of like bite-sized things that you can check out on demand, like at your own leisure. So their app will still exist, but they're pulling that channel feed. So Fubo going boo. Okay. Roy's coming in hard with the puns and the rhymes today. And I think what you meant to say was Fubo going boobo. I don't know. Okay. Oh my gosh. Ben Williams. Sorry, this is back on the Weather Channel Plus. Sharknado. Yes, they need to license Sharknado and run it. Yeah, well, let's see. Okay, so if it's a 24-hour network, they need to be running Sharknado movies 18 hours of those days. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. The Weather Channel on Roku currently only for cable or satellite subscribers. Right. So if you've got the Weather Channel through some other service, then you can log in here. That's what I remember. Okay. So I was right. Lovers of Music says, I'm a big fan of Pluto TV. I'm a big fan of Pluto TV. I'm glad you are too. Pluto's great. Sorry, let me adjust here. I don't have my normal comfy chair, so I have to adjust constantly, and you guys all get to feel like you're staring up at me because you kind of are. Yeah, Pluto TV is great. If anybody has missed my Pluto review that I did a month ago-ish, go check it out. It's I always knew that I liked Pluto TV, but when I buckled down and actually did a full review of it, I was like, oh my gosh, Pluto's amazing. So yeah, it's great. All right, Twister, Zachary, I beat you to it. Twister, I already mentioned Twister, so yeah. All right, so I think I'm pretty much caught up. Let's talk about a couple of news items here today. The first one I thought was pretty interesting, and this is like, it's industry news. This isn't something that is going to affect your life, on a day-to-day basis. But it's the kind of thing that I think we should be aware of, because when we're talking about the industry and the numbers and who's subscribed to this and how many people watch that, it doesn't affect your Tuesday afternoon or whatever, but it does affect, kind of what's going to be coming and what we see for the future. So if I pull this up here, let's look. Can I do it this way? Yeah, there we go. So this comes from Cord Cutters News. They found somebody had done a study. Cord cutters are on track to become the main TV consumers in the next year. So if I go to this page, let's see this. Let's get rid of this. So does this work? Sorry, I'm doing this on a laptop. Yeah, it is working. A laptop with a single screen. So it is a little bit tougher to manage than when I have my dual screen set up. But anyway, everyone keeps talking about it, but the numbers are hard to ignore, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. New data from the Trade Desk shows 44% of subscribers plan to cut or pull back cable services in the coming year, while nearly half of American TV viewers are already cordless. Additionally, only 19% of TV viewers are returning to their pre-pandemic sports viewing habits, which that's an interesting number right there. That'll have a lot of cable networks, taking note. So basically, like I said, this isn't something that's going to affect you today. But when we look at these numbers, then we look at something like ESPN Plus or Fubo TV to a certain extent. But I especially have my eye on ESPN because my thing for a while has been, actually, let's scroll up to the top. Oh, so if somebody comes in here, they can still see it. What was I going to say? My thing with ESPN. When we talk about cord cutting and the future of streaming and all that stuff, and the future of traditional TV, cable and satellite TV, what's going to happen? I have my eye pretty close on ESPN and what they're going to be doing with streaming, because I think once ESPN goes, once they go streaming, it's done. Traditional TV, it's not done. It's not like it's going to disappear. I mean, we still have radio plays, for heaven's sake. But, as far as like a mass-produced, mass-consumed medium, traditional TV service will essentially be dead once ESPN goes. So right now, as it stands, we have ESPN Plus, which is, I think, a really good app. You can get it bundled with Hulu and Disney Plus. But the content that they provide is generally, with the exception of they do a lot of MLS soccer, they do some hockey stuff. But as far as the big three sports, basketball, baseball, and football, the big three, they don't do a lot of live games on there, right? So they keep that to the ESPN channel, which, much like the Weather Channel we were talking about a moment ago, you can get an app for it. So you can get the ESPN app, but you can only log in if you are already a subscriber through cable or satellite. But with ESPN Plus, so I guess my point is they've got all these contracts, with to be carried by DirecTV and Comcast and whoever else, Dish, all those cable and satellite providers. They have contracts with ESPN. My question will be, when will ESPN say, all right, we're not renewing this contract because we think we can make just as much or more money by having an ESPN app and charging people, let's say, $7 a month to have access to the ESPN Plus, or whatever, the ESPN app. Once you can stream all that stuff, once you can get all the college football, all the baseball, all the whatever else, all the basketball games that they carry, once they can get all of that on streaming, it's over. So yeah, I thought that one, oh gosh, where did my window go? So I thought those numbers were really interesting, especially that one. Only 19% of TV. Oh, did I blow it up? No, I need to blow it up so you guys can actually see it. Only 19% of TV viewers are returning to their pre-pandemic sports viewing habits. So yeah, just kind of one of those things. Kind of tells me things are changing. They're changing fast. And sports is going to be, as far as live TV goes, traditional TV, I should say, and live TV to a certain extent entirely, sports is going to be the last kind of lagging indicator of where we're at with it. So anyway, that's my thought, but I'm curious what you guys think. So I apologize. I haven't been keeping up with the chat. Emily, hello, thank you. Yes, I know who you are. Of course I know who you are. So for those of you unfamiliar, I have another channel. We have a Discord, and sometimes my worlds collide, and it's all very disturbing. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. Ooh, this is an excellent question from Frayden. An excellent question. What's going on with the TCL Roku TVs? The latest 6 series from last summer was $699. Now it's $950. I am not prepared to fully speak about this and give you a lot of really great insight. But my initial reaction, and I think this would actually be a really good video. So I appreciate you bringing this back up. I've been thinking about this, and I need to add this to my list of potential topics to do coming up. It could even be a good live stream for us to sit down and kind of hash out what's going on with these. But here's my initial thought. What's going on with this? As you say, this is a ridiculous price hike. TCL, when they burst onto the scene, they were transformative. I mean, if you like having cheap TVs, think TCL. It kind of started 15 years ago with Vizio. They started making some flat panel TVs that were cheaper than what you would buy from Samsung or whoever else was around at the time, but they were still pretty pricey. TCL came along. I want to say they hit the American market in about 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. And it was like a bolt from the blue. Suddenly, this company was coming in. They were taking the existing technology that all these other TVs had, and they said, we can do that, but we can do it cheaper. And watch us do it cheaper. And so suddenly, a $1,500 TV, they were selling it for $600 or $400 or whatever. They were able to take the existing technology and just do it better and deliver a cheaper TV, or I should say, do it better. Their first TVs weren't the best in terms of picture quality, but they were good enough for the price. Anyway, so that was TCL at the beginning. TCL now is a little bit different. TCL now, okay, let's go ahead and sit down. Oh, that angle was kind of throwing me off. Every time I looked at myself on the camera, I was like, why am I staring at the corner of the ceiling? Anyway, TCL now is a little bit different because I've been covering CES for the last few years, and I always make a point to stop by the TCL booth. It's always interesting. And they are doing their own, they're making some innovations in the TV technology. So before, their innovation wasn't a better mousetrap. It was, I'll make it the regular mousetrap cheaper, to strain a metaphor. And now they're saying, you know what, we can build it better. And so they're coming up with their own technologies and implementing those. And anytime you do that, it's research and development, incredibly expensive, so expensive to do, especially on technology like this. And so in order to do that effectively and to recoup your costs, you have to charge more for the TVs. What's interesting is that the newest 6 series is only that much more expensive. Now, that being said, okay, so that's one thing. They are investing more in R&D. So the 6 series isn't even necessarily the one with all the new flashy technology. So sorry, I'm taking a long time to tell this story. The 6 series isn't even necessarily the best one out there, but they still have to raise their price on, across the board, across their whole device lineup to pay for the research and development that they're doing. And the other thing is COVID. The COVID pandemic, it was, I don't know if it was the initial cause, but it certainly made it worse. If you've heard about the shortage of basically microchips, let's just call it microchips. Microchips are in everything now, right? And they essentially run our lives. They're in this laptop I'm using. They're in this TV. They're in my phone. We've got microchips in here. We got microchips in. There's a refrigerator over there with microchips in it, the microwave, and the whatever. Everything's got microchips in it. And so if I've got my timeline right, and like I said, this is why I'm not prepared to speak about it really effectively just yet. But because of COVID, it exacerbated a problem with a shortage of these the microchips and the manufacturing of them. Very difficult to do. Very difficult to get this manufacturing capability off the ground. And so it's basic economics, supply and demand. The supply started shrinking. We don't have enough microchips. Oh my gosh! And so the cost of anything that used these microchips started to go up, and TVs was a part of that. So that's your 1-2 punch. Basically, they are running short on their supplies and also trying to innovate over the last few years. And those two things together are driving up the price on TCL TVs. It sucks, but it's how things go. TCL, and this is kind of, I don't know about an ironclad law, but it's certainly a tendency for a company like TCL to come in. They make a huge splash. we're the budget brand, and the budget brand that still makes great products, and they start taking over the world, and everybody's buying TCL TVs. I own 2 of them. I have owned 3 of them. And then they get so big, and they start researching and developing new products, that they kind of begin to fill the spot that they kicked other companies out of. So Vizio used to own the what am I trying to say? The budget TV market, and TCL kind of kicked them out. And now they're like, hey, we can make great TVs. We can start to elbow Samsung and LG and all these other companies out of the high-end TV market. And so they start kind of elbowing their way in there. And if they succeed, and, who knows? Why not? Maybe they can. If they succeed, then they will then be the new Samsung, the new LG, the new premium TV maker. And some other company will come in and be like, we can do that cheaper, and the new TCL will be some other company. So at least that's my prediction. That's 5-10 years down the road. We'll see. We'll see if I'm right. I wish I had my mug, because I'm always right. Rich says, I follow you for the best fair information. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks, Rich. That's nice of you to say. I always try to be fair. I try to be fair both to consumers and to the companies that we cover. I never want to construct a narrative just because I think it's cool, to bash on this company, or to, assume that we consumers are always right, because sometimes we're wrong. It does happen. All right. Let's see. Roy says, In the Heights was entertaining. I haven't seen it. I should probably go have a look at that, but I've been remiss lately. I've been very busy, so I haven't watched many movies lately. Okay. So this is going back to what I was saying earlier about sports being the indicator of what's going on with live TV. What about local news, says Zachariah? This is a great point. Local news is a whole thing, right? Is it weird that I'm streaming with a hat on? It's a little bit weird. Local news is a whole thing, but there's no reason why local news can't exist in the streaming future, right? So first of all, like I said, when I talk about the death of traditional TV, the cable, satellite providers, whatever, I don't actually mean that all of these channels will poof disappear and there will be no such thing as satellite TV and no such thing as cable TV. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that at a certain point, upwards of 80 or 90% of American households had cable or satellite TV, and that just won't be a thing anymore. So as it stands right now, let's see, how many American households listen to more than an hour of radio a week? A very small number, right? Radio was the dominant, we're talking almost 100 years ago, it was the dominant form of entertainment for the household. And when it got elbowed out by TV, and then black and white TV got elbowed out by color TV, or this and that and the other, whatever. As things evolved, radio didn't go away. It evolved into something else. And people started using radio for different things. And I assume that'll be the same thing with local news, and other things, PBS stations or whatever. It's like TV will still exist, but it will be in a different form, and not tied to the same distribution model that it has right now. Okay, sorry guys, I gotta catch up. Oh my gosh, I've got a few. First of all, let's. I want to find one more news story to share with you. This one came from Vulture. I found it in Vulture, and I'm going to share my screen again. I want to share. Come on. Okay. Share screen. This is why I miss my old setup so much, you guys. Whenever I'm away from home, I just pine for my studio. Okay. I like this one a lot. There we go. All right. Is it? Oh, yeah, let's add it. There we go. Roku would like to remind you about its Apple TV remote button. So this started coming out, rumors started coming out in April about it, or announcements. The announcement that Apple TV Plus would be adding a button to its Roku remote. So for those of you Roku users out there, you're familiar with this. Here, let me blow myself up a little bit. So on the Roku remote, we got Netflix and Sling and Vudu and Hulu. Vudu, come on, like really? Vudu, I have nothing against Vudu, but it's just not. I wouldn't think of it as something that would buy its way onto the Roku remote. And that's the thing. Okay, so each one of these buttons is bought and paid for. So Sling, or in that case Dish, Netflix, Hulu, Vudu, that's an Amazon company, or not Amazon, Walmart company. They all purchased these buttons. So when they purchase a button, they're paying, this report from Vulture claims, up to $1 per customer. That's a crazy high number, in my opinion. What do I know about the industry? But that seems wild. $1 a customer to get your button on this remote. And now Apple TV Plus is doing that. They are getting their streaming service, Apple TV Plus, on the Roku remote. So if we look at that again, kind of blow it up. Basically, like I said, they've kind of announced, or they announced that they were going to be doing this in April, and now here we are, and they've released their first images of let's see, can we blow that up? Yeah, you can kind of see it there. The Apple TV Plus logo there on the Roku remote. So why would they do this? Obviously, Roku has a huge amount of customers, and Apple TV Plus, people say, oh, it's struggling. They're having a really hard time. Maybe. I know that they are going to, now that they're done with the unlimited free trial that seemed to be going on for a while. So Apple TV Plus is trying to basically just remind people, hey, we exist. And remember that time that everybody told you Ted Lasso was the greatest show ever made? Yeah, you should probably sign up for Apple TV Plus so you can watch it. Or somebody who is letting their subscription lapse, and then they buy a Roku and they get the Apple TV Plus button on there. That's just a little reminder that, hey, that exists. And wouldn't it be convenient if you only had to press a single button instead of navigating a menu to get to the app that, where you want to watch your content? So basically, yeah, that's why they want to do that. I don't know how much they're paying. Like I said, Vulture claims that these companies pay up to $1 per customer to get on there. I don't know how accurate that number is. I would be interested to chat with somebody at Roku about it, see if they can tell me. But anyway, yeah, it could be interesting. I think Apple TV Plus is going to be a fun one to watch going forward. You guys know, if you are a longtime viewer of the channel, then you might recall that I have been an Apple TV Plus booster from the beginning. I love Apple TV Plus. I think it is fabulous. I think it is the next HBO. I think HBO, we'll see what happens with the Warner Media merger with, Discovery, right? Warner Media and Discovery. They're going to be kind of running things. We'll see what happens going forward with HBO and that brand. But HBO always used to be kind of adult-oriented premium entertainment, right? That was their whole. That was their brand for the last 20, 25 years at least, if not more. But anyway, they're kind of moving into the HBO Max, which is the streaming service for everybody, the streaming service for the masses. Netflix does their very targeted thing that this is the streaming service for you. Disney Plus, where the streaming service is for either for kids or for your nostalgic inner child, something like that. And I think Apple TV Plus, if they can market it correctly, market it well, they are well positioned to be the new HBO. We're the new premium content provider with adults in mind. And I think they do a really good job at it. But let's see. So now I am curious if anybody saying anything about this. Okay. I love this one. Astro Josh, welcome back, Astro Josh. Says, I love Apple TV Plus, but they need to get rid of the Apple ID because if you forget it, then they make it really hard to change. And that is really, really true. I hate their login process. I can't even begin to, like, the fire of 1,000 suns. If you ever saw Clue, fire, flames on the side of my face like that. I am incensed by their login process, in part because you need to own at least 2 Apple devices and have them with you at all times in case you get logged out or something, where it's like, you want to get logged in. It's like, okay, well, open up your other Apple device. You have 5, right? On your couch, you have 5 Apple devices. No, I don't. I just really want to log in here. Can I just use my password? No, you're going to need to go to your iPad and we're going to send you a code. Yeah, I sent my iPad with my kid to school. You got anything else for me? Sure, just open up your iMac. I don't own an iMac. Okay, well, what about your iPhone? I use an Android. It drives me crazy. And there's my rant. Sorry, I blacked out for a second there. It drives me up the wall. Okay, let's see. So let's see. Freyden says Apple TV Plus is not struggling. It's really difficult to gauge. So they're not releasing actual numbers. We have best guesses. The last best guess was that they have 40 million subscribers, which sounds great until you realize that most of those were free riding on that free plan, and they just got rid of that. In fact, this morning I got my email that I was being charged by Apple TV Plus to continue my subscription, which I have no problem with. I will gladly give them $5 a month for this content. I just don't want to buy all their devices. Call me crazy. But yeah, so it's really hard to know if they're struggling, how much they're struggling, how much that number is inflated, if it's inflated, whatever. But so yeah, it's tough to say. And I've always said, Apple TV Plus isn't even necessarily about its purpose is not to make Apple a bunch of money. Its purpose is to make their devices stickier, which, we'll see if that continues to be the strategy going forward. If they continue to put a bunch of money into this. There's a spider on the wall over there, and I am not a fan of that. So we'll see. We'll see going forward. How this all goes. Oh my gosh, I lost that comment. Where did it go? Okay. I read that Apple isn't focused on streaming TV as other competitors. It's more like a hobby. Apple's got. They've got so much money that they can afford, not a hobby per se, but they can afford to put out feelers and say, hey, we're going to do, geez, that was loud. We can afford to do a 5-year experiment and see if we can be a content creator. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, whatever, we'll compete with Elon Musk and try to go to space, or whatever they try to do next. They have so much money that they can afford to do things like that. So I don't know if hobby is quite the right word, but yeah, it's not do or die for Apple. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Ooh, this is a good question. This is a great question. Let's get rid of that thing. I like this question a lot. Lovers of Music asks, I noticed that almost all free apps like Pluto have the same movies as the other ones. Why is that? So you ever raise your hand if you've seen It's a Wonderful Life, the Jimmy Stewart classic Christmas movie. If you live in America, you've seen it on cable or whatever. It gets played every year. It was made right after Jimmy Stewart got back from World War II. So I don't know exactly what year, late 40s probably. And he thought he was done with Hollywood, and somebody convinced him to make one more movie. So he goes and makes It's a Wonderful Life. And it kind of flopped. It was not like it was it wasn't a horrible flop or anything, but yeah, it came and went. Nobody really noticed. And now it's regarded as one of the greatest films of all time. Certainly one of the greatest male performances of all time, as far as I'm concerned. So why is this? How did this happen? And believe me, I'm getting to your question. Trust me, it all ties in. I need some red strings and, my conspiracy board and all this. It all ties in. Right? So why did it become this kind of movie, this universally beloved movie? Because at some point, the copyright holder let the copyright on that movie lapse. They probably just forgot about it. Oh yeah, nobody really watched it. So, it's not valuable to us, and they just forgot, and they let the copyright lapse. And this was in the 70s at some point. So when you let the copyright lapse, it's fair game. Anybody can grab it and use it. And so all these channels, again, back in the 70s, they're looking for something to show. And here comes this movie. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anybody a dime. And you have, it's a long movie, so 2.5 hours. And then with commercials, maybe 3 hours plus, you have hours worth of content for free. And so suddenly, every channel was showing it all the time. It's every Christmas. They're doing marathons of the movie. It's playing constantly because it was free. And then it was just kind of glued to everybody's eyeballs. And the more people watched it, because it was on TV and you got to watch something, the more people watched it, the more they realized, oh my word, this is an amazing movie. This is not just a classic. This is a masterpiece, and that's kind of how It's a Wonderful Life came to be this way. So how does this tie into Pluto? Why do services like Pluto, why do services like Tubi and Stir, whatever else, why do they always seem to have the same movies? It's not necessarily because copyright has lapsed in the same way. In some cases, that's true. You can get literally free content. That's why you have entire channels like Baby Boomer Cartoons or whatever. But a lot of these movies are extremely cheap. So, a lot of them would be 30 years ago, they would have been direct to tape, direct to VHS, right? Skip the theaters, or either direct to DVD 20 years ago. A lot of those kind of movies, B movies, that sort of thing. And other movies, maybe it's, what was one that I saw on there a while ago? Something like 2 Weeks Notice. Was that Hugh Grant and Sandra Bullock, or whatever? I don't know. It does. I don't know about that movie specifically, but you can pick a movie and say, like, if you can find it and say, gosh, we can get the streaming rights to that for, a few $1,000, or I don't know what the numbers are, but we can get the streaming rights to that for how much? For just a little bit? Great, grab it. And it's non-exclusive. Okay, so other people can grab it too, but gosh, that is cheap. And so you get all of these things, get the streaming rights to all these shows, all these movies that are incredibly cheap to broadcast, and use them, not necessarily because, 8 million people are going to watch it, but because it fills out your library. And so you get a few more expensive ones, like you log into Tubi and you can tell they're like, oh yeah, you want to watch this movie. You want to watch the 1995 classic Twister. No, I'm kidding. But they get something newer, something more exciting that people really want to watch. And then they kind of start scrolling through, and you start going through Tubi. You start going through Pluto's on-demand section. You're like, oh my word, there are so many titles on here. Look at the variety that I have to deal with. And so it's good for them. They get to fill out their numbers, and they can say, oh, we have 3,000 titles on demand. But in reality, they're only paying big bucks for 20 of them. And the rest are all dirt cheap for streaming rights. And when those production companies sell the streaming rights dirt cheap, part of what they're doing is selling them non-exclusive. So Tubi can't say, and they do sometimes. They'll buy exclusive rights, but on a lot of these, they'll buy the rights, and the rights will come with a waiver on there that says, yeah, no, we're not selling these to you exclusively. We're also going to go sell them to Tubi and Pluto and Stir and Crackle and whatever else. So that's basically how that goes. And yeah, like I said, some of it is free. Okay. All right. This is fantastic. Sorry, we're skipping back and forth. I get stuck on a topic and then I go back to your guys' comments and it's all a mess. But I'll try not to rant again. But someone I know returned her Apple tablet and they still required her to have her Apple TV, which she forgot. It was a mess for her to get back on Apple TV. It is a mess. If you are fully invested in the Apple ecosystem, no problem. I'll just throw my thumbprint on my my iPhone and it'll get me logged in everywhere for everything. But for those of us who choose to just dip a toe into the Apple ecosystem, it is frustrating. So, okay. Let's see. I'm going to be heading out in just a few minutes, guys. I remember I'm on vacation. Okay. So but I'm here for you. I would never skip a Friday. That's a lie. I absolutely would skip a Friday, but I didn't feel like I had to this week. But I am going to go out pretty soon. Let's see if there's anything else. I apologize. Again, I am missing a lot of comments. What vacuum do you use? When will you review the Dyson V15 Detect? It's a great question. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. Direct to beta. Yes. Roy coming in with the jokes again. Are you our new designated joke person? We definitely need one on the channel. I'm not very good at it. Turns out I'm not very funny. Direct to beta. All right. Hugh Grant, I love Hugh Grant movies. Hugh Grant is the single most charming person ever put on screen. I think that's fair to say. I think that's indisputable to say. Not all of his movies are great, but he is fantastic. All right. Okay, so this will be, I'm going to go ahead and answer this one, and then I will peace out for today. Okay, first of all, we got to acknowledge Craig's car giveaway. I need 1 million subscribers before we do that. And obviously I'm going to get it when I live stream from my Airbnb. I just do that every week. And clearly it's very popular. Okay. Last one for today. What else are you liking on Apple TV Plus besides Ted Lasso? Okay. So, I will admit for the last 2 or 3 months, I have been neglecting Apple TV Plus. Okay, so I know there's some stuff that has come out that's very good, and so I'm not totally caught up on everything. But when it first came out, I thought the big shows that they announced when they first came out were all excellent. So the best one, again, they came out about 1.5 years ago. The best one was probably The Morning Show. I thought that was very interesting. It was a very interesting watch. Some people thought it was melodramatic. Some people thought it was preachy and all these things. And to which I responded, "Yep." But I liked it anyway. I thought it was well written and interesting for the most part. So I liked The Morning Show. I'm excited to see what they do with season 2 of that one. Not a lot of people liked C. I really liked C. So if you're not familiar, that one was the one with Jason Momoa. It's a post-apocalyptic show where everybody is blind, and it follows the story of his 2 sighted children. I don't know what the correct term, seeing, sighted, whatever. So his 2 kids can see, and they're hunted as witches in this post-apocalyptic world. A lot of people hated it. I really liked it, but partly because it resembled a lot of the epic fantasy literature and video games that I still enjoy to this day. It's not structured like a traditional TV story. It's structured more like an epic fantasy. And so it takes a while to get going. But then once it does get going, once the world kind of opens up and unfolds itself to you, I thought it was very well done and becomes very engrossing. So I like that one. And then the other one that came out at the time was For All Mankind. I thought season 1 of For All Mankind was absolutely brilliant. a few stumbles here and there, but whatever. I thought it was really good. I love Joel Kinnaman. He's fantastic. And season 2 is, I'm about halfway through season 2 right now. It's kind of, it's a little more stumbling. It's not sure where it wants to go, but I thought season 1 was fantastic. And then Ted Lasso. Yeah. What do I like besides Ted Lasso? I also like Ted Lasso. I think Ted Lasso is maybe the best thing to be put on TV in the last, basically like since Breaking Bad. So yeah. And it's the exact opposite of Breaking Bad. The exact opposite of Breaking Bad. But oh yeah, Mythic Quest. Mythic Quest is, it's hilarious. It's funny. It's kind of heartwarming sometimes. And anytime it threatens to be too heartwarming, it pulls back and makes a fart joke. And I love that. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And they have the distinction of having the best pandemic episode of any show anywhere. So their pandemic episode at the end of season 1 was the best that I saw all year from any of the pandemic stuff. So okay, now Shoaib is coming in with the puns. I believe that's not your job, okay? That's Roy's job. There you go. So vacation stream. The vacation stream is over, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I'm meeting somebody for lunch, and so I've got to hit the road and get out of here. But it's fantastic. It's kind of nice. You think, you're on vacation. The last thing you want to do is work, but I like these live streams. I think they're fun. I am looking for ways to make them more fun for you guys in the future. I want to add some music to them, find some ways to do more interactive stuff, games, and we do quizzes here now and then and whatnot. But if you have any suggestions for how to make these even better, then please hit the comments. I'm going to be taking off, and so I may not, so I may not be able to see them in the chat. Truth Be Told was great. I really liked the first season of Truth Be Told. Anyway, if you have any suggestions for how to make these better, then please let me know in the comments of this video or elsewhere on the channel. I'll still see them. And you can also always, you can also contact us through the website. Go to Reviews.org. Please go sign up for the giveaway. It's, what did I say? The Arlo Pro 2, no, not that one. What was it? This week, it is the, am I crazy? Which one was it? Eufy Cam, the Eufy Cam 2 Pro. So go to reviews.org/giveaways. The link is in the description. Go check that out. Get signed up for the giveaways. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm so glad to be able to chat with you every week. It's so much fun. And I will see you next Friday. All right? Have a good one.